So I've just talked about, oh, aren't Russian railways great? Marvelous, marvelous. But you've lived a substantial amount of them. So Milo, like what? I mean, I suppose it's a kind of, there is everything. All that the world can see is there type situation. But there's some last minute images that I flung. I was like, Milo, I forgot to ask you if you've got any pictures of your various shenanigans around on Russian railways, and you flung me a wonderful smorgasbord of delights here for us to kind of understand the vibe.
I was actually kind of disappointed how few pictures from Russian trains I had. I really thought I would have more than this, but so yeah, I mean, in terms of like when I was there, I think the Russian railways circa like 2017, 2018, certainly in the UK, you'd kill for a Russian railway. It's cheap. It runs on time.
Yep.
There are like sleeper trains that go everywhere, which are like super, especially in my job. It was great because you could like, you could do it such that you didn't have to pay for hotels because you could just like, if you're doing a few cities, you could just do like sleeper trains to the next one. And the sleeper trains were like comfortable. Like in the UK, you can get the Caledonian sleeper, but if you want a bed, it's like extortionately expensive. And I don't know if you've ever tried to sleep in one of them.
So I used to do
actually worse than a plane.
I used to do it on the old sleeper before it was fancy, and yeah, I would get it from Edinburgh North in the chair at like 4 a.m. to go hill walking, and you try and get a bit of kip, and no, you can't do that. So like try and do it from London. So yeah, no, like sleeper training experience also good, which is
But what I will say is that also like the vibes were often like quite fucked. Like it's Russia still, so like just insane shit is constantly happening. I mean, so the picture on the far left is a picture that I took when we were on the Sapsan going to St. Petersburg, and there was this man just lying on the floor like underneath the chairs, just asleep.
Was he definitely asleep, or was he being transported for later process? Like, he was on the way to the morgue, and they just popped him there.
Yeah, maybe that would certainly spice things up. But yeah, just like people just doing like feral stuff a lot. Especially if you went on the what they called the Platz cart, which was like it was the cheapest bit of the sleeper train where it's just like bunks.
Yeah,
it's like a normal railway carriage just full of bunks. Like there's no segregation, and you're like stacked on top of each other. And I remember you'd sometimes see like the old ladies would be like kind of pro. They would like use one of the bed sheets to like create a little curtain for themselves, like from bunk below, whatever. But they would just be like old guys in their pants eating fucking like doshirak, which is like Russian pot noodle, and like playing cards and drinking and farting and stuff. Like it was a lot of that. And also on Russian trains, people are always eating anything and drinking anything that you can make with boiling water, because boiling water is the only thing like you don't get room temperature water for free because you can't drink the tap water. So
understood.
Yeah, so if you want like water to drink, you have to buy that like bottled water. So people are constantly like bringing their own like tea bags and shit, and also bringing stuff like doshirak, like pot noodle type stuff, because they will the pravatniцы, the hostesses will dispense you boiling water for free. There's also, I mean, if you really want to get into it, there's a lot of Russian porn that focuses on the train hostess.
Oh, really? So they've taken the British person's kind of potentially, in some cases, extremely unhealthy and sensual relationship with the locomotive, and they've gone the next natural step, which is porn.
Yeah,
train porn. Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of like, sort of carry-on style, like Nisa comes into your cabin to check your ticket type stuff.
Bawdy erotica, but train based.
Don't ask me how I know this. Anyway, the next picture is from that same journey that I took with Irina when we went to Vologda.
Oh yeah.
And it's like we've done a whole night on the train, and now we're doing a whole day. Basically, that was how the journey shook out. So at lunchtime, I'm like, oh, let's go to the restaurant car and eat something. And we're looking down the menu, and I'm like, carbonara. I'm like, I don't trust them to make a carbonara on a train to Vologda. And then Irina's like, no, I've had the Ajodea carbonara. It's actually all right. So we order it. It takes them like 45 minutes to bring it.
Wow.
And then they say, oh, it's because the train is stopped at the moment. The cooker doesn't work properly. I'm like, what kind of fuck? Is it like powered by friction? Like, what is it? Like, how does whether or not the train's moving affect the cooker? Anyway, they bring it, and it's smothered in dill. I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah, there's some serious dill going on there. Yeah.
They will put dill on anything. Dill on pizza, dill on sushi, dill on fucking carbonara, as I've just demonstrated.
Yeah.
We're like, whatever. Scrape the dill off. The carbonara is fine. The lady comes back and she's like, would you like to see the dessert menu? And like, at this point we've spent about £2.70. So I'm like, you know what? Again, way ahead of British Rail. Those fucking £8 sandwiches that taste like shit. Give me the dill carbonara for £2.70.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, bring it over. She brings over the dessert menu. What's on the dessert menu is apple strudel, vanilla ice cream, or coffee. So Irina and I were talking, and I'm like, well, obviously, ideally, what you would want really is apple strudel and ice cream. But I've lived in this country long enough to know that this may shatter this woman's brain if we attempt to ask for this. So I beckon her back over, and I'm like, in my best polite Russian boy voice, I'm like, would it be possible to have some apple strudel and also like a small amount of vanilla ice cream on the side? And then she's like, unfortunately, we do not have the apple strudel. And I'm like, well, I guess in that case, we'll just have the vanilla ice cream. And she's like, unfortunately, we do not have the vanilla ice cream. And I'm like, why the fuck did you bring me this? And then she gives me this look like, I asked if you wanted to see the menu. I did not say.
There's nothing available on it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's my job to ask if you want to see it. It's not my job to provide you with any dessert. So yeah, image 3 is a bunch of us got a train down to Ariol to do a show there. So there was a very bored Russian cop on the platform. I tell this story in my show Pindos, but he basically like hauls us all off for questioning, and gradually like higher and higher rank Russian police officers keep coming out, and then they keep being like, what are you doing here? We're like, we're comedians. And they're like, a likely story. And we're like, it's not a likely story at all. It's actually quite a perverse thing to have made up. It's so odd as a then the promoter turns up, and he knows some of the cops because it's a small town, and he's like, yeah, look guys, these are my comedians, can you let them go please? And then they're like no, we're going to get to the bottom of this. So we're being held there, and then suddenly this copper in this picture, who I shit you not must have been like 18.
I was going to say this is a kid. Yeah,
because I mean I'm like 23, 24 there, and he looks incredibly young compared to me. Yeah, he emerges and he's like, where's the fucking English guy from the TV? And then everyone's looking at him, and he's like, do you live in a cave? You know what's TV? He's like, this guy also, Vanya Palavinkin, I know him. And then he starts like going on about how he's like a fan of our like comedy show on TV. And then he like demands that we take a selfie with him, which is where I got this picture from. Yeah. And then the chief of police is like, oh, well, okay then. All right. But never speak of this again.
Oh man, just the things that happen, and this was all in like a back room of a railway station.
Yeah. So this was in like the little police station, the police concession in the railway station.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this is from a train I took to Voronezh, I think, and it's a sign from inside the toilet that says, "Do not stand on the toilet bowl."
Yeah. I mean, people.
Sometimes you want to pop a squat.
This is it. I just want to get squatting. No, so I mean, a delightful slice of life is what we learned. I mean, the main thing to take away is like traveling by train in the UK is an interesting experience. GB particularly is an interesting experience, and it's fine. Trains are mostly clean, but the fact that it genuinely weighs up in a way you're like, no, Russian Railways is like noticeably more pleasant experience is noteworthy.